Weaver says, I can blame the people, their choice to listen to gas bags or con jobs. No critical thinking, no skepticism. People forget history, want others to give everything. There goes the covered wagon. So that's a really excellent point. That is a really, really, really excellent point. And it falls in line with something that I did a talk a couple of weeks ago. About the young fella that we think tried to assassinate former President Donald Trump. I did a video where I said, I'm hearing about what people in his community said about him, and all. My heart kind of breaks for the kid. There's lots going on here, right? There's lots for us to be sympathetic about when you think about the guy's life. And I mentioned that, we need to, in our communities, we need to be looking around and ask ourselves, okay, who in our circle, who around us is eating alone? Who around us is suffering? Who around us is in pain? Is there a way that I can offer some hope or some light or some levity? Is there a way that I can offer something that allows them to live happier lives? Is there a way that I can help raise them up? Now, I got a comment in that particular video, and I wasn't able to save it. I don't know if it got erased or if they erased it, but I got a comment in that particular video, and the person said something along the lines of, well, I had a tough life, and I didn't try to do anything like that. I had hard stuff. I went through hard times, and I didn't do anything like that. I was lonely, and I didn't do anything like that. And again, that's a good point. Okay. It makes a lot of sense. It sucks. You went through really, really difficult times. It sucks that you had some really, really hard moments in your life. But it's impossible for us to say that because of what I've went through, you shouldn't have done the things that you did. You shouldn't have chosen to do the things that you've done. You shouldn't have behaved in the ways that you behaved. That because I went through really, really, really difficult stuff, and you went through difficult stuff, and you really should have turned out as wonderful as me. Can't say that. The main reason being, what we went through is never going to be the same. Okay? What we went through, there's always going to be nuance. There's always going to be differences. You and I could both have lost a parent at the age of 7, living in a small town. Parent being the main breadwinner. Both of our parents being carpenters. And that's still, we are never going to fully understand what each other went through. Who was the parent? What was their relationship with us like? What was their relationship with our siblings like? What was their relationship with the community around us, with our other parent? What was, how tall were they? Were they into sports? Were they not into sports? Were they readers? Were they athletic? Were they poetic? Did they love movie? Like, the relationship and what we've lost in that moment is always going to be somewhat different because these are different people. And we live in different communities surrounded by different neighbors. So how I grow up is based on a series. There's millions of variables. I can only imagine it's millions of variables that lead me to the place where I choose to do what it is that I've done. So coming back to John Weaver's statement here, I can blame the people. They're choosing to follow these pastors. They're choosing to go to these churches. They're choosing to follow these, their words, gas bags, con jobs. He says there's no critical thinking. But here's the thing. In some of those Christian circles, critical thinking has actually been something that has been removed from the education. Right? Science and mathematics. We don't get into the theory stuff. We don't get into evolution. We don't get into the deeper sciences. Those things we push them away. You have congregations who are taught every day, right? Who are taught every day what their interpretation of the Bible is going to be. You have congregations every day who are taught, this is what Jesus looks like. This is what Jesus looks like. This is what Jesus looks like. You have congregations who are told every day they've got to be afraid of hellfire and brimstone. Doesn't matter if they've been baptized. It doesn't matter if they follow Jesus. It doesn't matter if they do all the things that the church tells them they should do as good Christians. They got to be worried about hellfire and brimstone, and one little slip up and you're going to hell, buddy. They're every day this is what they're taught. So when the time comes, they're again a diet of 5 decades, 50 years. Okay, how many generations are encompassed within that 50-year period from the 70s to today? How many generations are encompassed in there who have been taught conservatives are Christian, liberals are evil, right? Republicans are good, Democrats are bad. God says so. 50 years of this. 50 years of being told that the secular world has no morals, has no values, that they're nothing but drug addicts and freaky, debaucherous, sex-loving murderers. How many years? There's an interesting thing that I've encountered, and it's not uncommon for me to get an email from, let's say, a gay man. Just as an example, I'll get an email from a gay man, and this person will say, I haven't been to church in forever. Thank you for your channel. They'll often start with that. Thank you for your channel. You're helping me with my faith. I appreciate what you offer. And then they'll tell me about their church experience. And their hearts are broken that the church they grew up in will not accept them. They understand that their church hates gay people, right? They understand that their church is not following a Jesus of love and compassion and kindness and gentleness and mercy and forgiveness. They understand all that. They understand that the theology of the church they were attending feels to them completely broken and wrong, and yet their hearts break that they've had to leave. These folks, again, they've chosen it. I would argue they haven't. I would argue they've been indoctrinated to believe certain things. I would argue, yes, you're absolutely right. There is no critical thinking because critical thinking was not taught. Critical thinking, especially critical theological teachings, okay? Being critical of theology. Critical thinking theology? Critical theology thinking? You get what I'm saying, right? Questioning theology, dreaming and envisioning different things. I would argue that this is not something that's ever been okay, that their job was to sit, to be quiet, to listen, and to nod your head. Even if what the pastor was saying didn't make sense. Yes, Pastor. Thank you, Pastor. We get it, Pastor. You do not question the leadership. You do not question the teacher. You do not question the priest, the minister, or whoever. I know that's certainly true in Anglican and in other similar denominations. You don't question Father. Right? I would argue all of these things leads us to a place where they aren't truly choosing. They're just going by what they've been taught. They've been indoctrinated. And they've been indoctrinated with a theology that I would argue is with a theology that paints a picture of Jesus that I've never known. Amen.